Hello. So in the last session we discussed about the derivation part. That was our second derivative of this module. It was for free damped vibration. The basic difference between free undamped vibration and free damped vibration is that now in free damped vibration we are needed to consider the damping coefficients, or you can say the dashpot system in our spring mass model. In the previous cases, the damping coefficient, or you can say the dashpot model, was not being considered. That means C was taken to be 0. Now from now onwards, from this derivative onwards, we always will be considering the value of C, that is our damping coefficient. And we discussed the derivation portion. We discussed that there were three cases pertaining to the value of zeta. If the value of zeta was less than 1, it was termed to be under damped system. If the value of zeta was equal to 1, then it was termed to be a critically damped system. And if the value of zeta was greater than 2, then it was termed to be a over damped system. So there were basically three cases pertaining to free damped condition. Now we'll be seeing further more theory problems regarding our damped conditions, and then we'll be moving onwards to our numerical problem. So the next important topic in the free damped condition is the logarithmic decrement. Now what do you basically mean by logarithmic decrement? So logarithmic decrement, it is a concept to measure the damping factor of any SDF system. As the term itself says, that it is a concept to measure the damping factor, because as we are measuring the damping factor, this logarithmic decrement only comes into picture when the dampers are being provided or the dashpot system is being provided. Clear? The second thing is that it is based on the measure of decay of two successive amplitudes. We will be seeing that through a figure. And the third, it is defined as the natural logarithm of ratio of two successive amplitudes. So as we can say, consider this as the frequency of any vibration system. This is the x of t, that is displacement versus time graph. So as we can see here, the initial amplitude is higher, and as the time goes on, as the time moves ahead, it is said that the damping generally regains its original nature. Clear? Because it is a free damped system. For free damped system, the external forces are not been applied, only the initial force is applied to start the body to be in motion, that is to be in vibration. So after a time period, it will gain its original, that is shape vector. Clear? So as we can say, the first amplitude is very high, or you can say the maximum amplitude. Then as time increases, this amplitude decreases. The height of any crest or top is called amplitude. So as we can see here, this is x1 is the amplitude 1, x2 is the amplitude 2, x3, x4 up to xn. So as we can see here, it is the ratio of two successive amplitudes. That means it is a natural logarithmic, that is ln. It is the natural logarithmic ratio of x1 to x2. If we are talking about two successive amplitudes, then it is termed as logarithmic decrement. So further moving on, logarithmic decrement can be expressed in a mathematical form to be delta. Delta is a logarithmic decrement. It is the natural log, that is ln, of two successive amplitudes, that is x1 and x2, just as we saw in the figure itself. Now as we move across, this can be written also as 2 pi zeta upon 1 minus zeta square. This whole term, if the amplitudes are not being given in your question in the numerical problem, and if the value of zeta, or you can say the damping ratio, is being given, then you can either solve this equation 2 for getting the value of delta. So the zeta, that is our damping ratio, the coefficient is n upon omega. N is the damping value, and the omega is the angular frequency. Clear? So as we can say that since zeta is a very small quantity, if we take here zeta to be a very small quantity, then it is just a negligible value. So 1 minus some negligible value, that means under root of 1, and under root of 1 comes out to be 1. So whenever zeta is considered a small quantity, our delta will be equal to that is 1 minus zeta square will be approximately equal to 1, and our delta will be equal to ln x1 by x2 equal to 2 pi zeta. This value can be represented, or this equation can be represented only if the value of zeta is less than 0.2. Clear? So this is the final value of our logarithmic decrement which will be solving in the numerical problem. If the successive amplitudes are given in the question, then we'll be using the equation that is delta equal to ln x1 by x2, and if the damping ratio is given in the question, then we'll be using delta equal to 2 pi zeta. Clear? So now taking an example of the sum, that is, if a system has a 5% of critical damping, if it is given in the question something like this, that means zeta is equal to 0.005. Clear? If 5% of critical damping is given, then zeta will be equal to 0.005. The logarithmic decrement will be delta equal to, that was 2 pi zeta, so it comes out to be 2 pi into 0.05, which will be 0.1 pi. Clear? So this, which indicates that the successive peak will be e raised to 0.1 pi, which comes out to be 1.37. Now how this logarithmic decrement helps in judging the frequency attributes? So if we invert this quantity, that means if we take 1 upon this term, then it will be 0.73. Clear? So it suggests that every peak would have a value of 0.73 times that of the preceding peak value. This is just for the reference purpose. That means if we talk about this x1 and x2, we all can see that this x1 amplitude is higher as compared to x2, and x2 is higher as compared to x3. That means it is decreasing. So each successive peak, as we can see here, x1 and x2, this x2 will be at least 0.73 times of this preceding peak. That means the x2 will be at least 0.73 times x1. It is generally used when x1 and x2 are not being given, or the second amplitude is not given in your numerical problem. That time we will be using this case, that is, if x1 value is given and we need to find the consecutive amplitude, then we'll be assuming it to be 0.73 times the preceding peak. Okay? So x2 in this case will be equal to 0.73 x1. This is for generalized case if the numerical has not been given sufficient data. Now moving across towards our second theory problem, it is free vibration with Coulomb damping. Now what does it mean? For example, if we take a mass or a body having mass m, which is connected to a rigid body, or you can say rigid surface via a spring element, so this will be a stiffener material. If the external force P is applied to it, then this will be the free body diagram of that. Mg will be our weight force, which will be in the downward direction. Normal force will be in the upward direction to the surface. Then this will be our inertia force, mx double dot. Kx will be the stiffness force. Fd will be the damping force. Clear? If the dash force are provided, then Fd will be the damping force. Now Fd is the damping force, which will be equal to mu into n. Mu will be the coefficient of friction, so it will be equal to mu into n. Now, so for a single degree of freedom, the equation of motion here will be mx double dot plus kx plus or minus fd equal to 0. Why plus or minus fd? Because there are two possibilities. The value of fd can be positive and the value of fd can be negative. It depends upon the displacement of the body. So if the x, that is our displacement, is greater than 0, then the term fd, that is our damping force, will be positive, and if the term, that is our displacement, is less than 0, then our term, that is our damping force, will be less than 0. That will be negative sign. Clear? So these are the two cases that you will be remembering for the numerical problems. So decrease in amplitude per cycle is 4 fd by k. This again is asked in the numerical problem. There is no derivation to it, so you just need to remember. If it is asked that find the decrease in amplitude per cycle, then the value is 4 fd upon k. Fd can be calculated through this equation, that is mu into n. K will be the stiffness that we know how to calculate it. Clear? So now moving on to our first sum of today. The question here is, a vibrating system consists of a mass of 4.54 kg and a spring stiffness 3506 Newton per meter is viscously damped, so that the ratio of two consecutive amplitudes is 1.0 to 0.85. That means 1.0 is our x1 and 0.85 is our consecutive second amplitude, that means x2. Clear? So determine There are 5 cases to be identified in this case. First is to find out the natural frequency of undamped system. Second is to find out the logarithmic decrement. Third is to find out the damping ratio. Fourth is to find out the damping coefficient. Fifth is to find out the damped natural frequency. Clear? So these are the things that we will be going to find out. We will be starting with our given data. So as we can see here that mass is given in the question. Mass is 4.54 kg. The stiffness is given to be K equal to 3506 Newton per meter, and there is been asked that we need to find 5 cases. So we'll be starting with the first one, that is the natural frequency of undamped system. For finding the natural frequency, first we'll be finding the angular frequency. So the angular frequency will be always termed by omega. So omega equation is always under root K by M. K is our stiffness, M is our mass. Stiffness is already given in the question, as well as mass is also been prescribed in the question. So here the angular frequency comes out to be 27.78 radian per second. Now moving across, the ultimate aim was to find the natural frequency, that means to find F, and F equal to 1 upon 2 pi into omega. We have already calculated the value of omega, so substituting the value here, the answer comes out to be 4.42 Hertz. Clear? So this is our first answer, that is answer of case 1, to find the natural frequency of undamped system, that comes out to be 4.42 Hertz, or you can say cycles per second. Now moving on to the second case, that is to find the logarithmic decrement. Now logarithmic decrement, as we just saw, that there are 2 equations pertaining to it. First is in the form of consecutive amplitudes, that is x1 and x2, and the second is in the form of our damping ratio. If these amplitudes are not given in the question, then you must use the second equation, that is in the form of our zeta, you can say the damping ratio. But if these amplitudes are given in the question, then we always will be using this equation, that is delta equal to ln, that is a natural log x1 upon x2, that is the ratio of consecutive successive amplitudes. Clear? So moving across, the value will be ln 1 upon 0.85, as we can see here, that first is our value is our x1 and second value is our x2. So here solving it, we are getting an answer 0.163. That means the logarithm decrement here is 0.163. Now moving on to the third case. The third case is to find the damping ratio, and damping ratio is the value zeta. Clear? So to find zeta, again there is 2 possibilities. One is in the form of critical coefficient, that is a critical damping, and other in the form of that we just derived earlier, that is delta, that is our logarithmic decrement. And in the previous case we have already identified the term, that is logarithmic decrement, so we will be using the same case in the case number 3. So delta, that is a logarithmic decrement, was equal to 2 pi zeta. We have already calculated delta, that is a logarithmic decrement. So from this equation we will be finding the value of zeta. So making zeta as a subject, the equation comes out to be delta upon 2 pi. So answer here, that is delta was 0.163 upon 2 pi comes out to be 0.0259. So the damping ratio here is 0.0259. Now moving on to the fourth case. The fourth case is to find the damping coefficient, that means C. So as we all know that zeta equal to, that is the damping ratio equal to C upon Cc, we need to find this value C. For that we must know this value of critical coefficient, that is Cc, and Cc is equal to always 2m omega. So as we can see here, 2m is our mass is already given in the question to be 4.54. Omega is our angular frequency, and the angular frequency we have already calculated earlier, that was 27.78. So here the value Cc, that is our critical damping, comes out to be 252.24. Now substituting the value here, we will be getting the value of our damping coefficient, that is C. So making C as a subject in this equation, the equation turns out to be C equal to zeta into Cc. So the answer here comes out to be 6.53 Newton second per meter. This is the value of our damping coefficient. Clear? Now moving on to the fifth case of ours. The fifth case is to find the damped natural frequency, that is omega d. We have derived it in the last session, that omega d was equal to omega under root 1 minus zeta square. Omega is the natural angular frequency, omega d is the damped angular frequency. Clear? So do not get confused between these two terms. Omega is the natural angular frequency, which we have already identified in the case number 1, and zeta is our damping ratio that we have already identified. So just substituting the values here, omega was 27.78, zeta was 0.0279. The answer here, that is a damped frequency, or you can say damped natural frequency, comes out to be 27.77 radian per second. Clear? And then we need to find the damped natural period. So damped natural period, that means TD. Clear? So TD, the equation is 2 pi upon omega d. So omega d we have just obtained here. So solving it, we are getting that damped natural period to be 0.226 seconds. Clear? So this was our first numerical. It is generally asked in 7 marker questions in your GTU examination. So do go through it again. And in the next session, we will be seeing further more numericals pertaining to our free damped system. Thank you.